The best product is necessary, but not sufficient in defense.
We're having this, what I've described as a Sputnik moment, realizing that we're behind in a number of areas, and one of those areas is solid rocket motors, and so Crossbow is stepping into this really desperate national need.
Max Vozoff is the Chief Technology Officer at Crossbow Systems, a company transforming the solid rocket motor landscape with advanced manufacturing and modular flight platforms. Under his technical leadership, Crossbow delivers high-performance SRMs faster and at lower cost, while pushing forward with innovations like their rocket factory in a box and new hypersonic booster and large motor programs.
I want to go innovate. I want to go disrupt. There's so much opportunity to disrupt because there's been so little innovation in this industry for so long.
I'm like highly skeptical of these kind of distributed manufacturing things, but I'm willing to be proven wrong.
I really fear if we get our ass handed to us in the South China Sea or somewhere else in the world, it won't be because we can't innovate. It'll be because we can't close a contract.
We have some breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Breaking news. What do you guys do?
So Crossbow is making solid rocket motors for customers in the Department of Defense and some of their customers.
Why do they call it a solid rocket motor? What's solid about it?
So Rockets 101. There are basically two classes of rockets. There's solid rockets and there's liquid rockets. And like a Falcon 9 is a liquid rocket. And in that case, you have a liquid fuel and a liquid oxidizer, and you mix them together in a combustion chamber and set fire to it, and all going well, the fire comes out the back and the rocket goes forward. In a solid rocket, you are mixing a fuel and an oxidizer together into a slurry that cures. And it cures like a tire rubber.
Why don't they call it a slurry rocket motor then?
Because it's a solid when you use it. It's a slurry when you're mixing it. And it cures into something like vulcanized rubber.
Okay.
Pretty much. But because it has a fuel and an oxidizer mixed together, once you set fire to it, it's going to burn. It burns vigorously and it burns to depletion. In general, you can't turn it off. There are some exceptions to that, but they're rare. And the nice thing is, well, they're not as efficient, really, as liquid rockets. If you want to put mass into orbit, liquids are the way to go. But if you want to put something in a barn and store it for 30 years and be able to pull it out and just push a button and it goes, solids are a solution.
They last a long time.
They last a long time and they're very, very simple. There's no moving parts. And so that is why everything in the defense world, from a shoulder-fired missile to a strategic deterrent Minuteman, is a solid. We used to have liquid ICBMs, but not since the 1980s.
I see.
And this is critically important because of the simplicity and the storability and the reliability of solid rocket motors.
Okay, yeah, that makes so much sense. Can we see one? What's the one of yours? That can I Google pull it up?
Yeah, I mean, you
is there
can
pictures?
Look on the website.
Yeah, so we go to the website. Let's find some solid rocket motors that Expo makes. Why I pointed out? Why'd you call it Expo?
I called it Crossbow. Well, Crossbow.
Yeah, Crossbow.
And when they originally formed it, and I knew this was happening, but I wasn't in the company at the time. It was originally formed to commercialize a rocket that Sandia National Labs built.
Okay.
With government funding. And it was an orbital rocket, an all-solid, 3-stage orbital rocket. And Sandia, with funding from ORS and some other, it had actually been going on literally for decades. But it eventually
go up to the top, I think.
It eventually got to launch. Yeah. That is a very small solid rocket motor that we tested many years ago.
I think it's We Make tab up top left. Yeah, that's probably it. There it is.
Well, that's a 6-inch test motor that we were testing in Texas here.
Okay.
At facilities. And if you go down, that's a mobile manufacturing facility that we delivered to AFRL and are just about to demonstrate again in Texas.
What's the point of a mobile facility? Why not just I want to have a big-ass factory and just make it and then ship it?
Well, that's what Ukraine had until the first day of a shooting war, and then they didn't.
Why?
Because it's a big facility with a target on it.
I know. Can you just like put it in like I don't know, like Luxembourg, and then they train track all of it in?
You can, and certainly the US's production facilities are big production facilities in largely Promontory, Utah, and Camden.
But you're saying that what you really want is to have a bunch of these like shipping container facilities that you distribute, so if the other ones get killed, then you have these.
So this is called Rocket Factory in a Box, and that wasn't our name.
Okay.
That was an AFRL concept. And they just found us. We were making a technology that worked really well for it. So our first time we developed this was under contract to AFRL.
So this is Rocket Factory. It's in a box. It's like you can ship. How big is this footprint?
It's 4 20-foot shipping containers is what we...
The size of it. Okay. And you're making a bunch of these now, or...
And so now we have a follow-on contract from AFRL, and we are improving and expanding it. In particular, we're adding a couple connexes of raw materials so it can run longer. We're adding a generator connex, so all you need is diesel. You don't need clean 3-phase power because you might be deploying this in some pretty sketchy locations. But the interesting thing is that there was a lot of internal debate within the Defense Forces as to whether this was a good idea or not. And suddenly, no sooner did we get the contract to follow on with this, then we start getting inquiries. Could you deploy this to certain locations? Could you?
Yeah, we're going to go deep on this because I'm very interested in this. I don't know if you've listened to a bunch of my episodes before, but I'm like highly skeptical of these kind of distributed manufacturing things. But I'm willing to be proven wrong.
And I think there's people who agree with you. But the funny thing is that once that we finally end up with this contract, and suddenly we're getting inquiries from people on the front lines.
No. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So I want to get into it. I think I need to be proven wrong.
The disaggregation of the capability to produce energetics is important, and of course, having it innocuous, unlike a big building, but a shipping container or a few shipping containers.
Exactly. Okay.
And it's a hell of a lot cheaper than a traditional manufacturing building for.
Yeah, it may not have the same output. But it's
no, that's right. But it's
is it cheaper? It's not cheaper per unit of output, right?
Not necessarily. Although we think the technology. So we have a different way. Stepping back, we have a modernized way. We call AMSP, Advanced Manufacture of Solid Propellant.
Okay.
We have also used Additive Manufacture of Solid Propellant. It's convenient. We can use either because we don't have to change the acronym. And it's a sort of 21st century approach to making the same propellant that we've been making for 50, 70 years by another technique, but it's much lower capital cost, much lower footprint. And there's a few reasons for that. And it will fit in some shipping containers that a traditional mixed cast facility won't. And so you could build a bunch of these, even if in fact, you could build a bunch of these and spend less money than building one facility, and it's far less vulnerable. Okay.
What are the machines inside of the shipping container that like kind of make this stuff? Like, what's the process? Okay.
So at the highest level, we are autonomously, so this is all remotely operated. We are feeding the constituents into a mixer. We mix. We have a process for moving the slurry. It's a very viscous slurry through the system of getting the gas out of it, because having gas pockets in propellant is generally a bad
seems like a bad thing.
Yes. And then depositing it using it's a robot assisted deposition process. That is very controlled and repeatable, as opposed to the traditional approach of casting, where you're pouring sometimes down 10, 20 feet into a rocket motor case, which is obviously a highly chaotic process. And you can end up with, even though it's done in a vacuum, you can still end up with gas pockets in there, which is bad. And it's just not very repeatable. Whereas if you're using a 6-axis rocket robot to put it down in a very low energy, repeatable way, you know exactly what you're getting every time. And it's been a long slog.
Who makes that 6-axis robot thing that does that?
One of the things we had to do between the first version and the second version was change brand of robot, because KUKA was bought by a Chinese private equity.
Oh yeah, classic.
So now we have a Finnick. But
I mean, was the other one good though? That the Chinese private equity bought?
It worked. Yeah. I mean, we're hardly taxing it compared to an automotive manufacturing line. The geometries we're making are pretty simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way that we're doing it is really just we took a step back and thought, how would we do this today? Because the traditional way that uses this specialized mixer that looks like an enormous KitchenAid, and it, apart from being only available from a couple sources and costs a hell of a lot and takes a long time to get, it also, they typically mix in a vacuum, and so it's a, however big the bowl is, and some of them are many feet across. I mean, some of them are over 1,000 gallons. You pull a vacuum while you're mixing so that you're not mixing in air. The problem now is you have what is typically a water-jacketed, double-walled stainless steel mix bowl, and if something goes wrong in there, that vacuum chamber becomes a pressure vessel very, very quickly and throws hazardous fragments in all directions. We are not using a vacuum chamber. We're mixing in atmosphere and then removing the gas later.
Okay.
And so for a few reasons, it's all adapted off-the-shelf industrial equipment. You do have to make some adaptations, but capital cost perspective, it's much cheaper. And the facility is smaller, and the circle around the QD, quantity distance around that facility, is much smaller because we don't have any high pressure vessels.
Okay, so we've got this, and you're making these on the, maybe the people want to make the stuff on the front lines and then put them in what? What do people do with this stuff? Solid rocket motors?
You would have to put it into a rocket motor. And of course, it's not a whole rocket motor. It's just the propellant.
Exactly, the propellant. So then
we are working on some.
And then you like provide this to other companies that make the full motor.
Or you are prepared. You have the cases and the nozzles and the seeker and the guidance.
But I'm saying, well, where does your business end and those other ones begin?
So we have actually 5 verticals in our business. One is this propellant manufacturing technology.
Yep.
And we're bullish on that for a variety of reasons. The other is solid rocket motors as products.
Oh, you actually do the full solid rocket motor.
You can't sell propellant. You got to put it in a motor. So we are currently 10, 11 contracts for design of solid rocket motors, from little 6-inch tactical things up to 34.5-inch conventional.
And those little ones go into like what kind of products?
Tactical missiles. Ground to air, air to air.
Oh, like my friend Aeon's company, the little rocket guy.
We know those guys.
Yeah, okay. So he's trying to do stuff like that.
Yeah, something like that, or longer. I mean, there's a whole spectrum.
Yeah.
And so
but a Javelin, or the Javelin doesn't use it, does it?
No, we're not building Javelin motors now. We could.
Yeah.
And then the large end is 34.5-inch diameter for conventional prompt strike, long range hypersonic weapon. We're a second source to Northrop Grumman for that.
Okay. Hypersonic weapon, like a hypersonic missile.
So CPS and LRHW, which are sort of sister programs with the Navy and the Army, respectively, will be the nation's first fielded hypersonic weapon system.
Amazing.
Which is part of the crisis that we were talking about before, that, we're having this, what I've described as a Sputnik moment as a nation, that we've started and stopped various hypersonic programs for the last 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And never seen anything through. And now all of a sudden in these last few years, we have realized that China and Russia have both fielded operational systems. We don't have equivalent systems online, and we don't have countermeasures for the systems they have.
I mean, how are you going to stop a hypersonic missile?
Well, the Patriots seem to be doing pretty well in Iraq.
Yeah, they're fat.
It's a little bit lucky, I think.
I think it is. Yeah, I don't think it's. We're going to need some more defenses against that kind of stuff.
Absolutely,
they're very fat. Yeah,
and
it's going to take out an aircraft carrier.
It's something that is certainly the theater ballistic defense countermeasures that we developed were not intended for that.
Yeah,
they might work.
Yeah,
might work sometimes, but we are in a desperate scramble to catch up in that area of technology, as well as just in sheer capacity for energetics production. That's the other big challenge we have as a country.
That makes sense. And then, and so like for the hypersonics, for example, there's obviously the startups trying to do it now, like a Castellian or something. And then there's the Northrops and the Primes that people were trying to get this. I like their analogy, the Sputnik moment. I had this think tank guy on. I don't really know a ton about hypersonics other than like this think tank guy I had on maybe 20 episodes ago. He was talking about how like they're not intercontinental. Like, so you'd still get kind of close to China to use them on China. So it's like they're going to be kind of hard to use in that theater. You should like get them staged in a place that's close enough. And then they're really expensive. like a hypersonic missile is pretty expensive, I think. And so like it costs more than the command center it's going to hit. And like China has a distributed command and control centers. So like he was questioning the efficacy of the utility in a war with China.
And I think and I'm certainly not privy to all of the Department of Defense's programs and plans. We certainly need a range of offensive and defensive weapons.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying we don't do it. I'm just saying it might be better in the European theater. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I mean, look, I work in defense now to ensure that that the men and women in uniform and their commanders have options at their disposal.
Yeah, we're technology providers. At the end, they do the missions and the wargaming.
Yeah,
but it's on my podcast. I like to pontificate.
So
I'm not an expert by any means.
But you know, one of the big themes that we're hearing all the time and have been for several years now is this affordable mass.
Yes, the affordable mass.
We need a way we cannot be shooting down $10,000 Iranian drones with $2 million standard missiles.
Yeah.
I mean, they work, but
they do work.
Not sustainable.
Yeah.
And especially if there's hundreds, we've seen now multiple times, waves between Russia and Ukraine, and also Iran to Israel, waves of hundreds of a variety of different missiles, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, drones of all different sizes, altitudes, speeds, and decoys of them. And so we need to be able to take them out in a cost-effective. They've got to be effective, cost-effective manner.
Yeah,
and that is, what we are all scrambling. And there's other startups like you mentioned, Castilian. There's others stepping into the same sort of space,
affordable mass type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And what's the one you mentioned before? Started with an A.
Anduril.
Well,
they have a solid rocket.
There's them
right?
too.
Do you supply for them? Propellant?
We're not.
Okay.
Let's.
Say, you could say I can't answer.
What I was
going
to say was that I'm cheering them all on because God knows this country needs production capacity right now. So
what you're basically saying is
multiples to be successful.
What you're basically saying is it's a very large market because we need a lot. There's a lot of demand for this across. So it doesn't really matter.
And we've got 50 years of contraction and attrition in the industry. And I mean, you look at there's some really good charts you can find on like LinkedIn of having 6, 8, 10 suppliers 40, 50 years ago coming down to 2.
Yeah.
And I say 1.5 because Northrop has more than 3/4 of the market today. And so you end up with this it's a very
Northrop of the propellant making or
solid rocket.
Yeah, solid rocket, right.
In particular, and then Aerojet is the second, a distant second.
So for sizing of that, Northrop has like you said 75%.
Yeah,
and
more.
And that's how many per year do they make?
Oh, it's all different programs, all sizes, all different quantities.
Trying to figure is like $1 trillion, is it like $100 billion market, or like no, 10 billion, probably 10.
Yes,
like
easily. And that's just in the US, of course. There's all our allies as well, because
everyone's
cleaning out their closets and sending them to Ukraine right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be, for the next decade or two, there's going to be backfilling.
Yeah, we're a Northrop Grumman family, and my dad worked there for 33 years. So I grew up in the biz. I watched it. I used to go to the Christmas parties. When I was a teenager, I'd make the executives all the drinks, so hang out.
We employ a few rescues, I call them.
I've been rescuing a few Northrop people too.
From Northrop.
Yeah. Big primes, like they get a bad rap, but obviously we need them.
Yeah. I mean, everything that people complain about in the big primes, the fact is they're public companies and they're very good at giving their customer what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And the industry is broken. It is the quintessential failed market where market forces don't do the usual job. And then you end up with the government trying to manage the market,
which is horrible,
which is socialism, right?
Yeah.
But they're just trying to avoid a monopoly.
I mean,
and so it's a bad place to get into.
I don't know why they're trying to. Peter Thiel says monopolies are good. Then you can take the excess profits and reinvest into R&D. Like, why do they? I think the government tries way too hard to avoid monopolies.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not an economist, so I shouldn't be pontificating this, but clearly it is a
On the
concern,
ultimatum, you can do whatever you want.
So it is a concern, though, because even if we get multiple new suppliers pop up and we backfill all our magazines and get ahead again, the same problem's going to happen in another few decades if we don't fix the fundamental problem with the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, so when I was, we haven't talked about this, but I worked at SpaceX.
Yeah.
And I remember there's a lot of parallels, analogs between what was going on in 2005 when I joined SpaceX and what's going on in the solid rocket motor and munitions world now. At that time, this little startup nobody'd heard of, run by a guy, eccentric guy that nobody'd heard of, was trying to be the first company to build an orbital launch vehicle on their own. And there was a monopoly, or again, a highly asymmetric duopoly between ULA, that had more than 3/4 of the launch market, and Orbital Sciences, that had less than 1/4 of the launch market. And into this fray, or into this rather failed market, steps SpaceX. And of course, now that's analogous to Northrop Grumman and Aerojet and Crossbow stepping in.
Yeah.
And I had people telling me, it'll never work. We'll never let you do this. You're going to kill people. And, people genuinely had ethical.
Is it because
concerns.
It's dangerous to make?
Well, certainly. So the other thing I did is the second day I was there, I got dropped on me this COTS solicitation, Commercial Orbital Transportation Services. And that's what got Dragon funded. And so that's what's going, even though they only funded the cargo vehicle for Dragon at the time, the proposal required manned as well. And even the cargo vehicle was going to a manned space station. And so it's safety of human life. It's $100 billion national asset that some people saw we would be endangering. And some people thought it was really a moral and ethical problem to have a profit-motivated company approaching our space station and astronauts. And I had big Russian dudes at conferences pointing fingers in my chest.
But it should be everything should be profit motivated, I think. Okay.
Well, so the interesting thing was, and I couldn't say this to the NASA customer, of course, but they had the space shuttle. It didn't have a great safety record.
Yeah,
but what happens when we lose a shuttle is there's lots of, wailing and gnashing of teeth and renting of garments, and the program stands down and does a real deep navel gaze for 18 months or 2 years or something, identify some problems, fix some problems, and then go back to flying. Whereas if you're a commercial company like SpaceX and you hurt somebody, you didn't survive that. Like, our motive was stronger in many ways.
Yeah.
Than a government-run, government-funded program.
And SpaceX, fast. Now they're a monopoly for launch,
which is ironic. Yes,
and I think it's amazing though.
I know you won't hear me say anything negative about.
They should be.
Elon,
because we keep giving them more money and stuff. Because then they'll get better and better and better.
It'd be good to have a counterweight. I think Blue Origin, of course, is trying to become that.
Yeah, I'm skeptical. I'm not trying to talk shit, but it's just like a whole different ballgame, I think.
SpaceX has
Bezos is busy on his yacht, bro. Come on. Elon sleeps in the factory. Bezos is partying.
That is true. Elon is one focused dude, and
I've never met him, but he seems like a weird.
In my interview
alien.
To join in 2005 or something.
Yeah.
He told me that he formed SpaceX to make humanity a multi-planet species.
Yeah.
And that message and that focus has not changed. And every time you see him interviewed, every time there's an article, it is the consistent message. And I've seen him walking around the factory and, stop by an engineer's desk and say, "What are you working on?" And they say, "Oh, I'm working on a bracket to do this or something." And I've seen him say, "How's that helping us get to Mars? Stop that and do something else."
Yeah. That makes sense.
And that focus, that's what's, I believe, is.
Are you going to go to Mars?
Am I?
Yeah. Do you think you'd go up there on one of the first flights or no?
I'm at a place in my life where I'd like to see it work a few times. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old daughter. I don't know if I'd go for the first one or
Yeah,
two.
at some point, other people get a vote.
Yeah, it might be like I don't think yeah, exactly.
So, but hey, I mean, they've produced the most reliable rocket we've ever had.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think I probably would go at some point. It depends like when they start actually getting up there, but it'd be pretty sick.
I think it would be cool.
It's kind of crazy. Really crazy to think about, actually.
Mars is a long way.
It's a long way
Mars
away.
is 9 months one way and 9 months the other way.
Yeah.
Just say, hasn't Elon said that he wants to die on Mars, just not on impact?
Yeah. So wait, what is it? Yeah, would he? I guess. Yeah, when you get up there, how long people are going to stay? I mean, I've seen all the plans. Like, there's huge. Terminus is the city or something.
Oh, I don't know.
That's what he's named the city. It's called. Have you seen that?
No. This is an Elon thing?
Elon's calling the first city on Mars Terminus.
Okay.
Here, pull up Terminus Mars. Like
It's funny. That's reminiscent of, what was that, von Braun?
Warner von Braun.
Yeah, he wrote that short book on the whole architecture, how we're going to get to Mars and how we're going to settle it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, I mean, have you ever been to how often you're in Austin?
So for reasons that have never been clear to me, I was in charge of building our production facility down in Luling, just south of Austin, for most of the last 3 years. Now, just in the last few months, handed it over to our new. So I have been in Austin every 2 or 3 weeks for the last 3 years, but now I'm coming less often because I'm not in charge of building out.
Where do you normally reside?
I live in beautiful Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, I love that. Colorado's great.
I also live in airplanes and airports.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have no home. I'm like homeless. I live in airplanes, hotels. Yeah, I'm at that stage in my business where it's like all travel.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm hoping within like 2 years from now it'll be more stable. But right now it's that. This is my 4th startup and my last one. I remember the early years are always the most taxing on it.
Yeah, and you got to be everywhere at once. And do you just hire here?
No, it's the salespeople because we're always traveling. Like the go-to-market team is kind of distributed. Engineering because we're making this robot, like kind of have to be here. So like we try to get people here. So
we made a decision. Crossbow made a decision years ago to just hire the best talent wherever they are. Mm-hmm. And of course, if they're engineers at some point, unless they're software engineers, they do need to show up where the hardware is.
Yeah, you have to eventually.
And so we have a concentration of avionics people in Huntsville.
Yeah.
We have concentrations of motor designers in Utah and Sacramento. Okay. We have production engineers and chemists and that in Texas and to some extent New Mexico. And then we have and I didn't get through the verticals. So propellant technology,
yep.
Solid rocket motors, which are products, merchant supply of solid rocket motors. We do flight. So at some point we realized we need to flight test these motors because everyone on snow hasn't flown. So we started building simple sounding rockets, and we found that people, Los Alamos has been a recurring customer to put a payload on the front of these sounding rockets. We're really just flight testing our motor, but these vehicles, they're big. I mean, they're 34.5-inch diameter, so we can put the next one out of Wallops will put 500-pound payload at Mach 5 on a single stage vehicle. So it's very big, it's very heavy. So we do flight services. And then the two other things that have popped up more recently is that we're designing and building manufacturing facilities of our own here in Texas, but we also have a contract with Naval Surface Warfare Center Indian Head, Maryland, to redesign, refurbish, rebuild their manufacturing facilities. And so we have 7 buildings under contract and 3 more coming. So we are, and they're very much traditional propellant manufacturing and SRM manufacturing facilities. Mm-hmm. So we are designing and building for them there. And then the 5th vertical is, we bought our, small company in Sacramento that was making our composite motor cases.
Yeah.
Called Spencer Composites. Mm-hmm. Bought them, are integrating them. They're still making motor cases, but they also have other products. They've got things on Virginia-class submarines. Okay. They've got...
That's my area. I used to do that.
So they've got pieces for military helicopters. They've got some commercial contracts. And so the advanced composites is also a separate vertical on its own, separate to solid rocket motors. So it's kind of diversified. Let's put it that
Mhm.
way, in geographically and in terms of capabilities.
Nice. Okay. Oh, here, scroll down. Cool. I think there's like a building. I want to see the castle. There's like a sweet castle. Scroll down. Scroll down.
There's been all these books written about Elon, and I have read none of them.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, you know him, so you don't need to. Anyways, I think most of these are just conceptual renderings, but there was a really cool one that had like a castle that he was going to live in as a king. I don't know where it is. We'll find it later. Post in the show notes. But yeah, I do you know his brother too, Kimball?
So I live in Boulder, Colorado, and when I started at SpaceX, the board was Kimball and Elon.
Okay.
So I briefed him in that
Oh, cool.
context, but also he owns the Kitchen in Boulder, Colorado, which was for a long time ranked as one of the best restaurants in the country.
Oh, that's hilarious. You know he owns the kitchen here, right?
Oh, I don't know. I know there's now more kitchens.
So in my building I live in downtown, the bottom floor is the kitchen restaurant, and it's probably the worst restaurant in Austin.
Oh, really?
I eat there. I'm the biggest spender there. It's my own private dining room. I'm not kidding. No one is in there because no one would ever go. It's horrible.
Why? What's wrong?
I don't know. I don't know. One time I was in there and they sold me like cold gnocchi. It was like still frozen from the bag, or I don't even know. Bro, it was hilarious. I love it though. They know me in there because I'm always there because I like to have not crowded restaurants. So I go in after work. I'll just sit there at the bar. And it's just like me and 7 staff members.
They were one of the first sort of farm to
I'm not gonna get so shit on, but shit on Kimball's restaurant on my pod.
It was great. I actually haven't been.
You know what? The other beauty part of it. I'm not even joking. I really do enjoy it. I used to be in restaurant tech. So I'm in the hospitality biz. Like I sold my last company to DoorDash. So yeah, and then after I sold to DoorDash, I started this. I told the DoorDash founders, I was like, all right, bros, I got to start my weapons company. So I'm out. Built that company up to like 3,000 restaurant customers and nationwide. And that was a fully distributed team. We had no office, 90 employees I had. And that was fun. That's a tough business, restaurant tech.
Yeah. Sure.
This is actually much easier business to execute upon than restaurant tech. The restaurant tech is so brutally competitive, and the restaurant owners have no money. The fact that I was able to make that into a business that DoorDash could buy was like an act of God. That's why I telling VCs, I'm like, look, guys, if you knew what I went through to build a company and sell it to DoorDash, you would be giving me all your money.
So the difference now, though, is you've got government as a customer.
Yeah. So originally, what happened is we love robotics. Like as kids, and me and my friend Luke Allen, who I met in the Navy, we used to work on the reactor protection systems for the Virginia class submarines. That's where we met in the Navy. But we're electrical engineers, so we're always into robots and shit. And we've been trying for the better part of a decade to make a real robotics business. So the restaurant tech started as a restaurant robot that no one wanted. We built this robot in San Mateo.
It's like a busing robot.
It was an overhead internet connected gantry crane. Basically, it used the model a convex optimization algorithm to not spill the martinis. It brought them to your table. So it was like that. And you'd make the drinks, put them in, and then the bartender would put them in, and then it'd go up and over and down, and it would drive around the restaurant delivering food and drink. All right, so we got and we were we built all of that bootstrap because we couldn't raise money. We didn't have the money. So we were doing the PCB design and cooking them in toaster ovens to surface mount the components and stuff. Anyways, we got this whole elaborate robot called Bebot. And we got one customer in Cincinnati to use it. It's called Tokyo Kitty. They're still around. It's like a Japanese karaoke bar that has the robot servers. We were the first robotic bar in the country, basically. Anyways, I couldn't get another customer. And I had already just failed a startup before this. And I was like, man, we can't fail another startup. So I was like, why don't we just pivot and write these guys some software? So we pivoted into doing online ordering and point of sale type stuff. And then COVID hit and it really took my business to the next level.
Yeah.
Because everyone needed online ordering, all these restaurants that weren't on. And then, DoorDash wanted to start selling more B2B tools to restaurants. So they acquired us. But I couldn't build a robotics business. It was a software business. And then we were like, okay, let's do another company.
It's lower
and
CapEx.
we were like, okay, let's do another company. Who's a better buyer of robots than restaurant owners? Because restaurant owners didn't have the money for our robot. We're like, U.S. government. And then we saw the drone warfare, the rise of drones. And we knew that we could build a really new type of precision weapon that could snipe drones. So basically the whole thing is we turned this machine gun into a sniper rifle. He said, when you come to the range, you got to come to the range and see it, but it will scare the shit out of you. Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, clearly it's needed. Clearly.
Yeah.
It's needed.
And then I'm going to put it on the back of I want to put this on the back of Cybertrucks and have them patrol around Austin and stuff. So I'll get Elon to retweet that. Maybe you can help me out with that. Come on, bro. Help me with the marketing. I don't think Elon will like it'll be like Judge Dredd. basically. They can imagine like the bullfrog on the back of a Cybertruck, and it just patrolling around. It's pretty crazy. Like an autonomous vehicle with an autonomous gun.
Better than Taliban in the back of a Hilux.
Oh yeah. Well, we have we have them in the back of Toyota Tacomas or whatever now, and we always get feedback that it should be a Hilux, and we're like, come on, the Tacoma was so cheap, and I know the Hilux is cheap too,
But how do you find selling to the government?
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is why I say it's an easier business is that there's not a lot of competition in defense. Like what I mean by that is there's lots of competition for R&D dollars. It's fierce. Like if you look at R&D, like you and I are technically competing, even though we totally don't really compete, but there's only so much R&D money to go around to companies. So that I think is fiercely competitive. What is not competitive is that because so few products actually make it to the final stage, once you actually have a really finalized finished product, you're not really selling against that many people. Like there's not many people with an AI gun. It's like me and then like myself. So like if you can get past the R&D stage, then you're in a pretty good spot. Like the Switchblade, loitering munition, AeroVironment. It's not like AeroVironment's competing with anyone. Government's just buying the shit ton of Switchblades all the time. But to cross the chasm and get there, that's the hard part. But we were really good at making our own robot and really good at fundraising, so we don't even need the R&D money. And so what's nice is it's a natural moat because the government's not giving any of our competitors any money, so they're not getting enough money to do it. So it's just like me.
It's just sad though that the men and women on the front line need the solutions.
I know
they don't need to do an R&D. They need something that shows up and works.
No, I know. So like, what's really sad is that this is actually my least favorite part of the industry is that there are a lot of innovative people that have a lot of good ideas of what they could build for the warfighter, but they can't get the capital to do it. And the government's too slow to deploy R&D to startups. And so it's like there's a lot of innovation that's being left off the table right now. Because if you can't raise money like Palmer or like me, like us, like it's just, because I sold a company to DoorDash. The only reason I could raise money is because I already made a ton of money for investors. And like not a lot, there's people in universities that are brilliant, right? That can make really cool shit, but they can't raise the capital. So it leaves a lot of stuff out of the warfighter's hand.
Either raise capital or close contracts or both.
Yeah.
We have certainly had the experience now, I would say 4 times that we have waited over a year between notice of award and a contract being awarded.
It's crazy.
One was just 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really bad.
And most startups can't flywheel through that. They don't have enough.
Exactly.
They have enough capital in the bank, and they can't raise more capital until the contract closes.
I know.
And so a lot of them just
die on the vine. Yeah. So I knew that this was after we had sold a company, I knew I could execute upon this because we could get investors to believe years ahead of me getting any revenue, which again is like a rare position to be in.
Yeah. And if you've been successful before, how the venture world.
You're just trying to leverage that position. Palmer talks about that. He's like, I couldn't have done this company unless I sold Oculus to Facebook, basically, because it's like they didn't have anything. They had that he was a billionaire. That was their business, and then they leveraged that position to like do well.
Yeah, some of that's because it's a disruptive, like the quintessential disruptive technology that by definition doesn't have a market because the customers don't know it.
I mean, kind of. Their first product was like they were putting a camera on the border. Like it's not like it's that revolutionary, but this is an industry you can buy your way into. Like you can force your way in if you have
meaning defense.
Yeah, defense.
Yeah.
And that's what he talks about. Like he's talked about that. You just buy your way in. And then you still have to have a good product eventually. But I always tell my team this is one of the best gun systems ever made already. But the best product is necessary, but not sufficient in defense. And that's just the nature of this game. I think. I don't know. I don't write the rules. I'm just playing the game as it's laid out.
Yeah, and we're actively building out a production facility. You can't win a production contract till you have a production facility. On the other hand, a well-managed company shouldn't really invest in a production facility until you have a production contract.
I know. This is what makes
chicken
it hard.
and egg.
It makes it very difficult.
So fortunately, we have very supportive investors.
I guess I'm saying you had the background. I mean, your pedigree has enabled you guys to be able to do this kind of stuff. I don't know which VCs are, or who's your investors? Like who are the funds? Some of the big ones.
Crosslink and Razors are 2 of the.
Oh yeah, Crosslink's great.
Valerian.
I had a term sheet from Crosslink, my restaurant tech company.
Yeah.
I ended up going with CRV, but I like the Crosslink team a lot.
No, they were the first VCs, and they've been absolutely
a really good firm. Yeah, really good dudes.
And now,
Yeah.
of course, now we got Boeing and Lockheed on our cap tables.
And so now you have the primes in there too.
Yeah.
And that makes sense for them, I guess. They want to, it's like strategic for them.
And we quite deliberately have two.
That's nice.
Because we wanted it to be clear that we're not owned or controlled.
Do you give them like how much information rights do they get on the board level? At least for these strategics.
They don't own or control. None of them own or control us.
Oh no, not a control, just like information.
Which means that they're not privy to everything.
Okay, yeah. So they don't get like full board observer rights. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, that's like the thing with the strategic investors. Mm-hmm. Like our cap table right now is pretty much just straight VC. We don't have any strategic, and it's more just like I've been fortunate in my life. My investors, both of my companies now, have been very just like hands off, which I like because I'm like a kind of control freak, and I don't really want a lot of like board interaction. I'm busy.
Yeah, I think the other thing we're trying to walk this line between producing traditional products for traditional customers like the big primes and of course the government. So traditional products made in the traditional way by people who are highly experienced in doing exactly that. And then on the other side, we got this new manufacturing tech, and I'm CTO. I want to go innovate. I want to go disrupt. There's so much opportunity to disrupt because there's been so little innovation in this industry for so long. The problem is that, and repeatedly hear the brass from the Pentagon, pounding the lectern and saying, "We need you guys to go innovate." The problem is they're not always sure what to do with it when they see it.
I agree.
And so they want us to innovate, but then when it comes down to the brass tacks of the contracting officer, the program managers, the PEOs, they don't want risk on their program. They just want more of the same stuff cheaper, preferably.
Yeah.
And of course, the primes, if they're integrating a system, they're not going to introduce a new supplier or a new technology or a new material unless they get told to do so by their PEO at the Pentagon because it introduces risk.
No, I mean,
they don't want risk.
I know. I mean, I knew because I spent 5 years at Naval Reactors with Luke, where I met him. We were requirements writers for the new. Like, we had seen it. I had seen from the inside, like all the contracting, how it all works, and like how slow it is. And that's why when Luke called me to start this company, I hemmed and hawed for like 6 months. I was like, "Bro, you really want me to sell to the U.S. government? Like, come on, we used to work in there. I was like, we were requirements writers. You know what this is, bro." I was like, in nuclear submarines have requirement binders. I mean, I have vaults of requirements, bro. It's like out of control. It's terrible.
There's this vision of like Stark Industries and Iron Man where you just go build cool shit. Well, let's say shit. And
we cuss on here all the time. This is a really raucous podcast.
You just go build, you sell out, tickets to the bleachers, and then you hand out order forms, fill in the number and sign the bottom. Unfortunately, it ain't quite that simple.
No.
It's got to be verified to work reliably in the right environments, to not hurt the wrong people when they're using it, to last a certain period of time, to fit into a battle space, under control battle space. So it's not quite that simple. Unfortunately, I appreciate that. That said, I think recent events and developments in the world, there may be a whole new market segment opening up for stuff that's good enough, that may not meet all of the traditional Sea Eagle qualification requirements.
Yeah, it's starting to see some of that.
40 years, because all these countries that border Russia and Belarus are going to need to fill up magazines, and they can't afford to fill them up with sophisticated, pristine, what do we call them? Exquisite.
I agree, yeah.
Systems
like
ATACMS and
totally agree.
THAAD and Patriot. So they'll buy some of those, but then they're going to want to backfill
cheaper stuff.
Yeah.
I was just over in Romania with my sales team, selling gun turrets and stuff. I mean, you're seeing that right now. They want like cheap stuff that works using AI, but that can be more capable.
Somebody's got to determine what's good enough.
Yeah.
And, that might depend on how desperate you are. And I think some of those countries are pretty desperate.
I mean, what's going on? I mean, if you're Estonia, like Latvia, you're on Russia's border and you've seen what's happening in Ukraine, you're like, okay, let's staff up a bit here. Let's get some stuff going.
So, you've mentioned there's other companies, and I say, bring it on. We need, as a nation.
Yeah.
We need capacity, and we need ideas.
Yeah.
And we need, disaggregation of production capability, because that's the other thing. There's a bad side to having all your production capability
in one spot. Yeah.
locations.
No, I can see that. I think that's the argument against, some of the efficiency gains. I think as you see in a large factory, the downside is that, again, it's a single point of failure.
And
That could be a single point of failure.
we talk about with our
Get hit by a hypersonic.
propellant manufacturing tech. Yes, we think it'll probably be lower cost per pound of propellant, but really that's not the value proposition. The
Exactly,
value proposition is that the capex investment is much smaller. You can do it incrementally. You can set up 2, 3, 4 of these things. You can proliferate and disaggregate the capability to produce rocket motors and other energetics.
That makes sense. Where are you on the so obviously there's no rocket motor on this drone, but do you work with any drone makers on stuff coming out?
So there's a few obvious ways that we could
turn them into a bomb somehow.
Well, I mean, so one thing is to get up and out, so get them flying.
Yep.
So the front end of the mission. Another is the back end of the mission, and some sort of effector.
Yeah.
Once it gets into a location. And some of that could be in a reusable drone. Some of it could be in a one-way.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a number of ways. Or you can, of course, our tech can probably be used to make high explosives as well. We don't have a contract to do that. We get asked about it a lot. And so then it can also make a warhead for a drone.
And so that's some stuff you don't have to say it. Just you're thinking about that with your partners now, the customer government.
Sure. We get asked about it a lot.
Yeah,
the facility we're building in Luling's not big enough, physically large enough to be doing that. But we are also at Ematech in New Mexico, and they do high explosive stuff all the time. So we could set up facilities there if somebody gave us a reason to.
Okay. What do you have a thought on where maybe you think the drone market is headed these days?
Drone market?
Yeah, where do you think's going on in the drone world? Are you guys not? That's not really.
I don't know that I'm informed enough. I mean, hey, a missile is just a fast-moving drone.
It is, yeah.
Right, and we make the part that makes it go fast.
Yeah.
And we're also making launch vehicles.
Because you're a big part of the Iron. I mean, you're like Golden Dome or Iron Dome.
Could be.
Yeah, you might end up being.
I don't think we can buy into $200 million development in the hope that we'll win a prize.
I know, right? Though, yeah. Well, the Golden Dome seems a little odd to me as an engineer because they want to do boost phase interceptors. They want to intercept missiles from the enemy in the boost phase of the journey.
Yeah,
which seems like a very hard problem. I don't know if that's even possible.
There's boost. There's EXO. There's Endo.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not sure if the Golden Dome would actually work.
It's a TID solution. It's a bunch of difficult problems to solve, but
that's where a lot of R&D money has been earmarked. So
it's a cool engineering challenge. I don't think there's any miracles. I think it just has to be done, and yes, it's going to cost some money
and take a lot of work. Yeah,
and the other thing about the acquisition strategy, apart from having to front an awful lot of capital, is that the timeframes. And they want demos in a year.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be possible.
I can't get a FAA launch license in a year.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
So clearly it's setting up partnerships with people who can front that sort of risk capital.
Yeah, but the timelines that's still too compressed, I think. I mean, look, we've been trying to do lasers for 50 years now. There's still no laser on a warship. There's one prototype or something. But these are Golden Dome could be a 50-year project starting now. But I mean, seriously, this stuff. You know how it is. I mean, just look at laser history.
We are open to partnering and certainly to supplying. In fact, we have been asked multiple times in the last couple of weeks if we can do space-based solid rocket motors. There's a few unique requirements.
That'd be cool.
And they do exist, and we employ people who have built before. So.
How do you choose what to do? Do you say no a lot?
It's funny when you're a startup, you kind of just go after everything.
You have to.
And, we went through a phase of just throwing a lot of mud against the wall, and then some of it started to stick, and then, success begets success, and it has started to snowball.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a good problem to have. And I've been through this exponential growth phase before with other companies.
Yeah.
SpaceX, I joined, they were at 120 people, and I left exactly 5 years later, they had 1,200.
Yeah.
Of course, now they're enormous.
It's massive now.
But that's a different company, 100 to 1,000. And
when you go from 100 people to 1,000, the company at 1,000 versus 100 totally transformed. I mean,
and it's Yeah, so this will be the third time I've been through it. It's the first time I've been in the C-suite when it's happening, which is a whole different level of stress.
Yeah. I try to tell all my team here that because a lot of these are young kids, they never even been in a startup. This is their first, most of these people are their first job. And I was like, guys, I just want
It's a pretty cool job you're offering.
I was like, guys, I just want you to know this is a rare job. Like, this is not a typical first job out of college.
I love the startup. I love the diversity of work that happens in a startup, which is that if you want something done, you better do it because there's no one else to do it. And that includes mopping the floor, making the coffee, and running the analysis. Yeah. And I think that's great.
If I were, so speaking of like R&D and like government maybe faster and stuff, I don't know if they would ever do this. Here's one thing I would do to fix this whole industry or fix it is like, look, there is a good amount of R&D dollars. Maybe a lot of it goes to the primes. I think DIU showed me a chart. I was like doing a speaking thing with David Michelson of DIU at MIT like a couple months ago. And he put up a chart for the students in the audience of like, here's how much R&D money goes to the 5 major primes versus the rest of the industry. And he's like, if you include SpaceX and Andrew, if you include them, they get like 3% of all R&D money. Like 90% is going to like the prime still. Like if you just
they get an allocation of IR&D on their contracts.
Yeah, it would be nice if like they just said, okay, for anyone under 500 employees, like for example, like I raise money. If they just like gave us like a $2 million, $3 million, it moves the needle for us so much more. And it's so little money for a startup.
But that's what the SBIR program is supposed to.
Yeah, but they're so slow and stuff, and they're hard to win, and they're very opaque. It's it's super hard to understand.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that a lot of them are sort of fixed. Like there's already some person in the government who knows who they are.
I was telling they're selected before they're written. Yeah, they are, but that's not. I don't know if that's fixed really. You're doing salesmanship to win them, and then you submit.
And we've had a few. DARPA is what got us started on this propellant tech, and we've had a few others, AFWorks. And it's great IP terms, actually. The SBIRs give you the best IP terms you can get out of the government.
Yeah. But I do think that a little bit more, like I would say, gambling from the government would be...
The sad thing is how many of them languish just dead end and never get across the chasm.
Yeah.
Production,
but like
fielding.
But I do think startups need a lot fewer resources. Like they don't need as much money. Like, so like what I'm saying is just like, I was talking to Secretary Driscoll about this. I was like, take 50 promising startups that are working in defense or whatever. And like, do something where they each get $1 million, $2 million or something for one of their programs they're working or the products they're working on. Because then they can go to investors and say, look, we've got some support from the Army. It's no guarantee. And it'll help. It goes a long way. But we don't do a lot of that. They spend a lot of money, I think, in the wrong places. They put it into universities and stuff. The government loves to have the universities in their own little dev shops compete with industry. Have you ever noticed that? Like I literally compete with my customer on things.
There are, and then of course there's political reasons for that.
There are political, but like
DIU does some great stuff.
Yeah,
and it's in my mind, it's contracting mechanisms. There needs to be a way to quickly close, especially with small contracts, things under $2 million or something.
Yeah,
to quickly and cost effectively close those contracts to get things going and to support. I mean, the whole reason we won the Cold War is our ability to innovate, and a lot of that happens in small business, and then that's the whole funding structures that exist in the U.S. economy that don't exist even in most of the rest of the free world.
Yeah, I agree.
And so that's what we need to leverage and encourage, and having very long contracting timelines and onerous requirements for these small companies. That is, I really fear if we get our ass handed to us in the South China Sea or somewhere else in the world, it won't be because we can't innovate. It'll be because we can't close a contract efficiently.
No, I won't say the name of the customer, but we have one that's like last August they selected us basically, and we're about to finally get the contract.
And you're grateful if it all goes through, but
yeah,
I mean, my experience is that longer it takes to close the deal, the less likely it's going to close.
For
We've
sure.
been very lucky at Crossbow in that we've had these very long time frames.
Yeah,
and they still close.
You
deal with 4 different contracting offices.
I know.
Before getting one contract signed.
I know.
And you start at the beginning every time. And, just a lot of companies can't flywheel through that.
It is very, very, very interesting. And I think that I think you're right. New contracting mechanisms are maybe even set down from the top, maybe from the policy side on the Hill, just saying like, hey, contracting officers, you guys can earmark like a certain portion of your budget to like really faster contracts, and don't be worried if they fail. And I think there's like a little bit of worry that from the KOs if they like, fail.
There's like, FAR and DFAR exist for a reason. You don't want to misspend taxpayer money. You don't want to reward corruption, whatever, or favoritism.
For sure.
Whatever. But I also think it's kind of gotten out of hand in the last 30 years. I do remember when contracting officers for the government were a service to the program manager. And they just made sure that all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed. T's were crossed and I's were dotted. And that nobody did anything illegal or went to jail. Now, multiple times I've wondered if the CO is God.
Yeah.
And the PMs are pleading with them to please get this contract closed.
Yeah, it's interesting how that is set up in most of the military versus like naval reactors where I was. It was all in the same building. All the requirements writers, the contracting, like we're all in the same team. And I could just walk up to them and be like, give me that contract for my prime contractor right now. I just force them to write the contract. As an engineer,
yeah. So
you
need that champion inside the government walking this thing around for you and hassling them every day.
Yeah, because it was all self. But a lot of these in the Army, like the contracting officer will be in a different state or city. Like they're just really distributed. Unlike naval reactors, which are all in the same building with all the same teams. So like we were just I don't know, maybe it was just Admiral Rickover who set up the original NR. Like just had a special setup. I don't know. But we had the money and the requirements writers all in the same building.
You just think how the emphasis would change if we did suffer a loss. Like it would be screw that, get solutions out there.
Oh yeah, if we were actually in war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the other part of it, right? We're not necessarily in a battle.
That's why, watching the Ukrainians defend their freedom, defend their country.
Yeah, it's hard to, they're defending it.
Necessity is the mother of invention, and I guarantee they're not sitting around trying to sign contracts.
You've seen they've been a really impressive rally. Like people in their country just like people. I saw like an article where someone was like makes flowers. She's like a woman, and then she started making drones.
Yep,
like just 3D printing them, getting them to the front line.
It's an existential
whatever
fight.
It takes. Yeah,
and it is. I think it is the model of the future of warfare.
Yeah,
to a very large extent, and we got some big lessons to learn.
Yeah,
and they should have some big lessons to export once they're at peace again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all need to learn from that very, very quickly.
Is there solid rocket motors in the like APKWS, the BAE system one, that like the 4 rocket tube pack thing? Is that a solid rocket motor?
I don't know the system you're talking about.
Pull up the APKWS.
Probably.
I think it is, right?
Usually
it's rocket motors.
Even if it's an air breather, you usually need a solid to get you up fast enough.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Up away from the truck, away from the.
I was saying the reason I bring it up is because maybe we'll be working together at some point because I'm putting rockets on that. Like
So absolutely.
Some of our customers instead of the gun. Oh yeah, that APKW. This is a cool product, right?
And we've been approached multiple times by drone manufacturers about, as I say, either the front end or the back end of the mission.
Yeah, so like some of our customers want, instead of the gun, like a 4 rocket tube pack because it's like a very precise system, and then so maybe we'll be working together at some point when we integrate this stuff.
Yeah, the back half of that looks like a solid rocket motor.
Definitely. Yeah, this is a cool product. This is like a BAE, and then I think there's a modified version that L3 Harris has called the Vampire system, which uses this plus some other stuff. But yeah, I've been getting into more of like, I didn't know as much about all the different weapon systems until I started this company. Because obviously being a nuclear engineer in the Navy, we just kind of sat in the back of the reactor compartment, not a weapon. But like now I'm like, it's fascinating the different types of stuff that's out there. Learned a lot.
This is my first job in defense. So
yeah.
And I think
first and last.
I think back longingly to the quaint, simple days of dealing with NASA and one headquarters building. You could walk around and meet everyone who controls whatever program.
See, that's analogous to naval reactors then, NASA, because they were all self-contained. Yeah,
except there's 10 centers scattered around. But,
okay.
But the money was all controlled through headquarters, so you can go to one building and solve all your problems.
NASA should be able to be pretty proud of what they've done with SpaceX. They can take credit for it. We helped SpaceX.
Absolutely should. And it was...
take credit for it.
It was... By and large, I think the rank and file at NASA was always very supportive. There's certainly some who felt threatened. Which is always the case when an innovator comes along.
It's awesome now. Now we're just putting satellite. The launch market's crazy.
Well, it's changed the paradigm. It's changed the business. And wait till Starship gets working.
I mean, yeah.
That fundamentally changes the market of space and space launch.
When is that coming?
Things like volume and mass are almost irrelevant. You can launch shipping containers full of stuff.
When is that happening? When the Starship?
Next test flight's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. But when? Yeah, so like when are they estimating there'll be how many tons can they put up into space? Like I don't even know.
I don't know.
It's crazy though.
A lot. It's more.
Well, I saw a chart.
Saturn V.
I saw a chart of like the amount of money it takes to put a ton. Like he's just lowering the cost.
Yeah,
like
taking zeros off the cost per kilogram. Yep.
Yeah, that's just amazing. It's going to unlock a lot of other industries.
And again, Elon's focused, right? Humanity, a multi-planet species, and he's, I guess, determined that that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And he's going to get it done.
Yeah, I've heard some complaints from like some SpaceX like engineers or people that I've talked to that he's so focused on his mission, which he rightfully should be. It's awesome. That like sometimes they miss out on some other business opportunities for revenue, like Starlink stuff. But Starlink's obviously a ripping business with inside of SpaceX, but
which he only started because he decided that was the most effective way, the only way money he could fund.
Yeah,
going to Mars.
And so, they got to keep doing that to get the money. I mean, he can raise more money and do all this stuff, but like that's a really good way to.
Yeah,
but it all is to support the mission.
Yeah,
the final mission.
But that vision, that focus, that's what people, and it was exciting, thrilling enough that people line up to support.
Yeah, I think setting the top level vision, he's one of the best at,
and consistency. And of course, it helps if you can start with some of your seed money. Actually, the other difference between what SpaceX was doing back then and Crossbow now is that Crossbow really only has one customer, and that's the federal government.
Yeah,
or their allies. And that still goes to the federal government. SpaceX, at least with launch, there was a commercial sector.
Still is. I mean, my friend Gabe runs a company called Umbra Space. Umbra satellite imaging. They go to SpaceX and launch on their SpaceX. That's how they look their satellites up there.
Yeah.
So,
but the SpaceX could prove themselves out with commercial customers while they convinced the government to buy from them, which took a while.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have commercial customers. In the end, I mean, there might be a prime, but in the end, the end user is always the government. So it's really one customer.
Yeah. I mean, I have one customer too. I can't sell this consumer.
Right. The highest bidder. That's the Tony Stark model again.
It's a little too deadly. Although technically there's nothing actually illegal about semi-automatic weapons. So, I mean, technically we could disable the automatic nature of this and do one button press on the app per shot. So we could make a consumer version. I think people would buy it. Like there's a lot of gun enthusiasts who want to have the most accurate gun ever. Like, so
you just don't want that first video footage from.
I don't want to give anyone this product.
Iran.
Yeah, I don't. No, I just want
Syria.
Yeah, I do not want to sell this consumer. Yeah. It's far too accurate. But people like I was at SHOT Show in Vegas. It's like a gun and ammo show and a huge trade show, and we were showing this off to some people and a lot of like enthusiasts are they're in ranches in Texas or they're in ranches in Wyoming and they want to like shoot wild hogs and stuff, like a perimeter base defense. And I was like, you guys are crazy. And they have a lot of money. They're rich ranchers and stuff. They'd spend $250,000 on a gun turret.
I think there's more pressing needs for your product.
Yeah, I think so too. I told the team, we're not be doing consumer anytime soon or ever. We got to get this out to the warfighter.
I want to go out to the range.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get the team. We're gonna get your whole team out. It's really fun. We have the marketing team also does a really good job making it fun. Like a fun event. So we had like barbecue. We just bring in barbecue out there. We do a briefing. It's everything. It'd be like a whole pageantry to it. That was a Kraft, our main fund, our VC. They're like, Steve, your product's so visceral and like awesome to watch in action. Like you need to make your demos more fun. They're like the best entrepreneurs like do that. And I was like, all right, fine. That was
sales.
I was like, all right, we'll church up the demo.
Rocket motors are always good to demo.
Yeah,
you never get sick of seeing rocket motors fire.
Yeah, and you usually and then also not just when you test them standalone firing, but like put them in a missile. Do you partner with other like missile makers or something?
Well, I mean, no, they're
for their
primes.
demos, and then you come, yeah.
And so, but I mean, we're also assembling our own vehicles and launching them.
Okay,
a couple times from White Sands and coming up from Wallops and. Potentially signed a contract for that will cover multiple additional launches of these big vehicles, increasingly big. Where we will end up shortly under the contract we just signed is a capable of testing all the hypersonic development test needs of the Army and Navy.
Yeah. Where do you do majority of your internal testing?
Luling. Right now, it's all down here on the old airport between Lockhart and Luling.
How far away from here, from where we're at?
30 minutes.
Okay. Is it south?
Yeah.
Like near New Braunfels or New Braunfels? Where that is?
No, so that's southwest.
Okay.
So we're just straight south through.
My sister used to live there. That's how I know it.
So Luling had a little airport that they decommissioned years ago, and they sold it to us. And they've been the city of Luling has been awesome. The county, Caldwell County, has been awesome. But we also have an agreement with Texas State University, and they have a big ranch called Freeman Ranch, just west of San Marcos. And part of that agreement, we're partnered on a number of things, but also we're building a bigger solid rocket motor test stand, bigger, so we can test motors that are bigger than what we can test in Luling.
Excellent.
And that'll be big solid rocket motor test stand.
Where's your accent from, by the way?
I was born in Boston, but my family moved to Sydney when I was 3 years old, so I grew up in Sydney.
So you got the Australian.
Started undergrad, moved in Perth for a few years, and then moved back to California.
Do you miss Australia? Or
I go back regularly. I have family there that want to see mainly my kids, but maybe me too.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
So the younger one is 18, and he just moved out to college like yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Maybe day before yesterday.
Where?
They're going to CU Boulder.
Hell yeah.
So my older son's going to finish airospace. And
that's kind of nice. You could just still be near.
Yeah, because it's best of both worlds from my perspective. They moved out, but we still see them regularly. They still do band practice in my.
So we said 18 and what?
20.
You like that? Is it fun?
It is. Actually, it's my favorite time.
Yeah. What's your favorite age ranges for
kids?
Yeah, when you were raising kids. I'm asking because I'm like I have a 3-year-old, and I'm wondering like when toddlers are crazy, so I'm like, will it get better?
I think three is when it starts to get fun.
Yeah,
I call that the sucker age, because I think that's why so many siblings are like 2-3 years apart, is because you start thinking, oh, this isn't so. You're forgetting the sleep deprived trauma of the first 12 months, and they're starting to have real personality and interact with you, and you're thinking, this isn't bad, we could do this again, and then you end up with another. So, no, but I'd say the last couple family vacations with these kids at like 16, 17, 18, 20 have been the best of the whole time.
Yeah, my kid's name is Mia. My goal is to have her inherit my defense empire.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I want,
and she won't be interested in it.
No, not at all.
She'll end up being a granola eating crunchy.
What is this? We have some breaking news.
Right
now. Breaking news: the war in Russia is over. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's not. I'm asking about new capacity. New capacity? What about it? You can speak up. You asked the guest question. Bring it in.
Absolutely. Well, this week we've had a tour down at our Luling solid rocket motor facility, and we have some exciting news to share.
Let's break that news
about the facilities coming online.
Yeah, and how much capacity and stuff.
So, the facilities we're building down there, when fully online, will be the second by propellant capacity, be the second largest facility in the country.
Oh, nice.
Northrop Grumman.
You're in rarefied air, Daddy Northrop.
Well, yeah, I mean, Northrop is still, their capacity is significantly more than ours, but still, the point is, it's a non-trivial addition to this national capacity to produce solid rocket motors. And
that's awesome. Are you going to have like did you guys do a press release and stuff?
I mean, we've done ribbon cutting,
okay.
Press releases on starting the facility. I think shortly we'll do one when phase 1 of the development is done. I'm sure.
Are you throwing a party?
We can throw one for you if you like.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And it'll be more. Like there's a phase 1, there's a phase 2. We need to get some production capacity online ASAP, because the demand signal is we need it yesterday.
No, I mean the demand signal for your space it seems very high.
And even at full capacity, I'm beginning to get the message that we're going to have to go look for another block of land somewhere and start building more. So
it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean we just can't build it fast enough, and the need is now.
Are you basically who manages all your? I don't know if it manages all your expansion, like the facilities expansion. That must be a busy job.
Well, yeah, and we have a head of international facility development, Phil Streisner. He's leading the group that's doing Indian head development, and now also leading the group that's doing this.
I imagine there's a lot to that job because you want to also kind of align it with the Hill and getting jobs in areas, and then incentives, and it's just a lot of work. Because I've started getting hit up by Congress now about where they're going to manufacture these in the U.S.
Oh yeah,
yeah, we're going to do a lot of it in Alabama, like Huntsville. We just opened a little Huntsville spot, but mostly because of like congressional stuff, and yeah.
Part of the atrophy of the industry, it's not just a decrease in the number of companies and capacity to make them, but also a lot of facilities that used to be used have been mothballed or worse.
Yeah,
and not just in Conus, but all over the world.
Yeah,
there are production facilities that are just no longer available, and that we need to either completely refurbish or replace.
Yeah, I hear that. Like, yeah, I mean, we're going to be manufacturing all this in house, so we got to get scaled up. But we built this in design so it can all be like on one 5-axis CNC machine, like one giant machine. So you just need more of those to scale, like making hundreds of these a month.
How much of that is off the shelf versus
it's almost none off the shelf.
Engineered in-house?
It's like 270 machine parts that we make, all designed by us, and then all of the motherboard's custom. It's our own motherboard, our own motor controller board, all the firmware,
buying the sensors.
We buy the cameras, and the gun is supplied by the military. But pretty much everything else is us. The sensors, the motors we buy, but like all of the, like I said, all the PCBs, all the code, and all the steel. It's actually a massive surface area of a product. It's just like, had I known when Luke started this how much he'd have to build, I would have been like a little more apprehensive, because this is so much easier. I could have done like a drone with a bomb on it. Like, this isn't barely any IP in these now. Like, it's all open source flight controller stuff. Like, no drone makers really have a lot of IP. But that's why it's getting commoditized very quickly, though. This is like an immense undertaking. It's very daunting. I've probably spent like $20 million on the R&D by now.
Who else is doing that? Like, who's your competitor?
I mean, there's like a startup or two. There's like a new startup that's called like Shentrado. It's like two guys in a shop right now. And then there's Kongsberg, which is a Norwegian company that have the Crows, but the Crows can't hit drones. And the hardware all needs to be redesigned. They need to change their servos and then write all new type of control system. So I won't have a competitor for at least 10 years, I don't think. Yeah. This is an impossible feat. We can barely build this. Is that hard?
What's the range?
Like almost a kilometer. When we're talking about sniping, it's like 1 or 2 shots, like pop. It's like you're trying to kill 1 drone per second is the design basis, and the design like a very high rate of acceleration
at a kilometer.
Yeah, we'll probably get out to like more like 800 meters. Kilometers a little aspirational.
It doesn't help you to at higher altitudes.
Yeah, these are for like these are for point defense.
Yeah,
so like trucks, convoys, drone coming in to kill your convoy, any vehicle. The premise of the company is that every vehicle, every mounted gun currently on every vehicle in every military needs to be replaced with an AI version of itself in the next 5 years to stop the drone threat from destroying all your vehicles. So we're going to put this on tanks, Bradley, Abrams tanks, Bradleys, robotic combat vehicle, trucks. We'll sell it to like countries like that are NATO that don't have like sophisticated tanks like we have, but they have trucks. Talking like Taiwan. They have 300 Toyotas. And they're not even joking. They're like, hey, we want to put one on each of our Toyotas. So it can go like almost anywhere. But you're right. It doesn't hit. It only is for point defense, like last line of defense.
It's an important layer.
Yeah, I mean, there's other the market, the competitive landscape for MySpace, and you probably know this because you sell solid rocket motors to some of these drone missile one-way attack drones. Is that's a crowded space? That's a much more crowded space. The primes, the big companies, do a lot of longer range neutralization of drones. So like Iron Dome type stuff, they want to hit the drones a couple of kilometers out, 10 miles, 20 miles out, intercept them much further away versus what we're doing, which is much more close range.
Yeah, it's the ones that slip through.
Yeah, and so that's why there's a dearth of competition, because it wasn't something that there was no one was talking about it, because people would much rather hit the drones much further out. Safer.
Bet you it's a lot cheaper than hitting them further out.
Yeah, and certainly for smaller, like our market will probably be. I don't know how your revenue splits at your company, but I think that within 5 years we'll be 70% foreign military sales, maybe 30% U.S. Like we're like going to be heavily weighted in foreign markets where there's actually a lot of FPV strikes. Like there's no FPV strikes in America. No one's attacking us with FPV, you know. And also our country, we probably wouldn't put guns inside of our country. Like I was talking to the Department of Homeland Security about this. They're like, okay, we got World Cup coming. What do you guys got for us? And I was like, I don't think you're going to want it. I was like, I don't think my product's necessarily right.
That could introduce questions.
Yeah, I don't think humans like really want to see guns on the top of stadiums when they're watching soccer, you know. That is a problem. I could see a terrorist attack with drones, but I think that there will be other
spiderweb.
Spiderweb. But I think there'll be other countermeasures that aren't kinetic, scary guns on the soil. You know, there's other products.
Certainly, domestically, one would hope.
Yeah, like I've seen like Fordham is a company like around here in Texas that trying to do like a drone that nets them and you know, like net guns or something. But I'm skeptical of pretty much anything that isn't a machine gun, like for my space, because I think that it's hard to neutralize this. The new drones coming out are hard to jam and stuff. So that's why we kind of did this like that. Oh wait, back to the kids that you guys rudely interrupted my family talk. It was really fucked up. But yeah, so no, the last thing I was going to say on my chat. So then she'll take over this company, and then she'll have kids maybe, and those kids will take over and ruin my empire. That's the ultimate goal. That's like the pro shit.
It's
the second generation.
Your empire.
Yeah, that's how you know you've made it.
But you'll be gone, so you don't care.
Yeah, I'll be like the old grandpa at the time. Like, back in my day when I built this thing, you don't even know how to appreciate it.
Well, good luck with that vision for your life.
Yeah. What are you got the rest? Do you leave tonight or?
I'm heading home tonight. Yes, I've been here since I don't know, Sunday actually.
Yeah, these events take a lot out of me. I mean, this is Fed Supernova. It takes a lot out of us. You know, it's tiring.
Yeah, it's a lot on. I'm thankfully, I spent a long time in business development. The whole time I was at SpaceX. Really.
Yeah,
I was BD and then at some other companies, but there you got to be on these things. Now I'm CTO. I theoretically don't have to do all the business development stuff. Up quite as much. Still, I do end up in a lot of the meetings.
I am. These take a lot out of me because my job is to do the president stuff, which is like I go hang out with everyone. And it gets late, and then I'm
running around.
Yeah, I'm like do guns. Yeah, it's a lot of effort for me. My CTO gets to like selectively go to things that he wants to be fun. It's fun for him, and so it's by the end of these I crash. Tomorrow I'll be crashing and burning.
Some people feed on it, other people it's exhausting.
The problem is I feed on it too much and then crash. I like that. I'm more extroverted, I guess. Well, cool. I'm glad you could come in today.
Good. Well, I appreciate the invitation.
Any other announcements? Hiring? Plug the company. Let's pump it.
I mean, we are hiring as fast as we can find people.
Yeah.
Particularly in Northern California, in Salt Lake City, in Luling, Texas, in Albuquerque in Socorro, New Mexico, in Huntsville.
So they're hiring across the board.
And growth. And we've been a very distributed company from the start. That was a deliberate decision. Yeah. You got to be prepared to travel if you're an engineer, because you got to be with the hardware at some point.
Got to be that.
But we have, we now have I think 11 SRM development contracts at various levels of maturity. We have several internal motors under development. And it's all going to be, there's going to be a series of big video ready. I was talking to Mark earlier.
Get some video
stones in the next 6 months that should be quite worth.
You should send those videos to our marketing team so we can put them on our social media.
Absolutely.
Too. We like to promote partners that are helping the warfighter and doing really great shit, you know?
And we are doing, me and my colleagues, my management and colleagues, we are in this to do anything we can to help, and included spending our own capital on some things, and anything that's legal and will help, we're in to do.
Excellent. Well, we can't wait to promote it on our channels as well. We've spent a lot of time getting all these followers. We may as well leverage it for someone that's doing something good, you know?
Good. Appreciate that.
Thanks for having us.
And good luck to you, too. I mean, this is exciting. I can't wait for the demo. And I know it's a...
And I can't wait for the party.
Yeah, good.
All right. All right, we'll see you.
Excellent.